Hello and welcome to Poppy's first day school video. It may seem a little bit all over the place, but so is she. And I was learning her, so I was just adjusting as we were working. So when I first brought her into the room, she was quite amped. I think a lot of puppy energy and a little bit of nervousness. So what I focused on first was just standing still and seeing if she would give me her attention all by herself. And whenever she did that, I would give her a treat. Because I don't want to bring them into a room that they've not been in before and then just suddenly start asking things of them. So I want her to choose to give me her attention. And then we've worked on following a lure. So a lure is a piece of food right to their nose. And the more that they follow it, the closer they get to that treat, and then they get that treat. So that's how we teach a lot of behaviors. And it's fun to chase something and get it. So I also let her decide to jump or decide to not jump. And if she decides to jump, then I ignore her just like this. But if I see her thinking about it and she does not jump, I will either give her a treat straight to her mouth or I will toss one on the floor. And we really just touched on place training today. I just introduced the bed. And I did try to get her to lay down, but she would not do it on the hard floor. So I tried it on the place bed, and she would do it on the place bed. So then I transferred it eventually to the floor, and she will do that a little bit later in the video. So now what I'm doing is one of the basics of leash manners. So she really was interested in the door this whole time. She really just wanted to go through the door. So as she walks towards the door, she hits the end of the leash, I stop moving. And what I would like is when she feels the leash go tight, she turns around and comes back to me. So what that looks like in the beginning is a lot of waiting and a lot of patience and a lot of letting her figure out how to release the leash tension without me having to tell her. And then when she does come back to me or she looks at me, I will say yes or good and go ahead and reward her. And here I'm waiting her out to see if she'll jump on me. And she makes a much better choice, so she gets a treat. And then I act exciting, and then that prompts her to jump. So I let her practice that and get nothing from it. And she is very good at getting tangled in her leash. And I wait until she checks in with me, and then she gets a treat, and then she gets pets and praise. Because it's not bad to look at the environment and to smell things, so I let her do that to an extent. I don't let her pull me towards those distractions, because if she pulls and then she gets to it, she's rewarded herself. So there she jumped because she was excited because I was petting her. And then I did nothing. And then she made a better choice by leaning her body against me just like this, which is perfect. I love that. That is a much better choice and makes it super easy to pet her. So then I will go ahead and pet her a whole lot when she chooses to do that. So for the place bed, I would like her to voluntarily get on the bed by herself. And then once all 4 feet are on the bed, I'll say yes, and I'll drop food on the bed. And I'm seeing if she will lay down on the bed. I'm not verbally asking her to do any of these things. I'm just having her follow the treat as a lure. And so as soon as she lays down, she gets that treat. But until then, my hand is kind of closed around the treat, so she can't eat it, but she can smell it and she can lick it. And then I transfer it to the regular ground. So I did this session in actually 2 30-minute sessions, just about. I gave her extra time because a lot of what we did is just standing around and letting her look at her environment and choose to come back to me over and over and over again, which would be very boring in a video. But this is our second session of the day, so you can already see she's a lot more focused on me than in the first one. So the reason that I believe that she's jumping is because she is unsure of what to do in that moment, and she knows that if she jumps, she gets affirmation, whether it's us speaking verbally to her or putting our hands on her. She feels comfortable when she's super close to you, which is fine. But we also want them to be confident away from us and know how to interact with their environment. So it is a little bit of a nervous behavior, a little attention seeking, and a little bit when she becomes overstimulated or overexcited. So you can see how I lure her into the down. I do recommend starting on a bed at home if you can't get her to do it on the ground. And I do wait her out to see what choice she makes. So when she approaches and does not jump, I will toss a treat out. So this is backwards spatial pressure. So what I'm looking for is for her to follow me. So I'm facing her and I'm walking away. So I'm being inviting. And as she follows me, I mark it with a good and I throw her a treat, or I can say yes when she gets to me. On walks, handler attention is super duper important. So we practice that inside first before we go outside, because there are fewer distractions inside than there are outside. So we have less to compete with, basically. So I highly recommend putting a leash on and doing this indoors, walking towards the door, letting her hit the end of the leash, waiting for her to come back, and when she does, reward, and slowly make your way to the door. And then you can practice in your front yard or in your backyard.
Yes. Smart girl.
Just make sure that it's easy at first, because she has a little bit of a short attention span. She's just a puppy. And we want her to be successful. So then if she comes back to us and she stays with us, she can have another treat. So you'll see she's a lot less committed to hitting the end of the leash now, and she feels the leash pressure and knows a little bit better how to turn it off, and she's a lot quicker to come back to me. And she even checks in before she hits the end of the leash. I probably should have rewarded her in that moment, but there's the reward when she came back and she leaned against me. I was waiting for a good choice, and that was a perfect choice. So she is now deciding and thinking that she should lean against me versus jump on me. You can see she's actively making that decision. So she's using her little brain and making really good choices. So I'll make sure to reward her heavily when she's in this position, because this is how I would like her to greet me and to greet other people. And then she tries something that used to work, that didn't work, and then she tried the thing that has been working, and it worked. She's super smart.
What a smart girl. Yes. I love you.
So this is some door manners. So typically I let the dog practice the undesirable behaviors first to let them figure out that that does not work. And then I will intervene to help them make the right choice. So what I'm doing is I'm blocking the door from her.
Good.
So I'm getting some space between her and the door. And we're doing a little dance.
Good.
And then she makes a better choice. She sits. I toss a treat. She doesn't really want it. She just wants to go out the door and go outside. So this would be forward spatial pressure versus backward spatial pressure. So forward spatial pressure means to move away from me, and backward spatial pressure, when I walk backwards, means to come towards me, basically. So we can use spatial pressure to get some distance between her and the door. And another tactic that we use is we open the door, and if she goes towards the door, we close the door. So she's learning directly from the door that if she goes to bolt through, it will close. So she needs to look to us and give a little bit of space. And then the door will open, and then we'll say something like okay or free or break, and then she's allowed to go out of the door. And you can definitely practice this, putting the leash on and going towards the door, and then not actually going out of the door. So then we're decreasing the excitability about the door. So she doesn't really understand why I'm stepping towards her, so she's jumping a lot more because she's unsure. So that was at the end of our first session, and this is the end of our second session. So you can see she understands a little bit better to back up when I walk towards her. And there was somebody else in the room, unfortunately, so she gets a little distracted. But she gives some space between her and the door. So I go to open the door. She goes towards it, it closes. And we just repeat this with lots of patience. I have the leash in my hand so that she cannot bolt through the door for safety reasons, but I'm not going to use the leash to teach her the door manners. I want it to be with the door.